This video is brought to you by A12 Productions. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to enjoy the videos. Also, please try and comment and rate the videos. Thank you. Hey guys, Asap here and welcome to C++ tutorial number 6. Today we're just going to be covering the Const Modifier. So what does a Const Modifier do first of all? Well, basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. It makes the variable constant. Here you can see we've declared a variable num1 and that's a const int, so it's a constant integer. And notice I haven't defined whether it's unsigned, signed, and long or short, so it will just default again to signed long int. So this is a const signed long int with a name of num1, and I've just initialized it or defined it with a value of 5. And here you can see I'm trying to redefine it now below with a value of 10. And if we just press F5 and try and compile this, you see we get 1 failed and we get 7 errors. That's 1 error for each variable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th is coming from somewhere. I'll talk about it in a sec. But if we go up here, we can see here our first error is num1. You cannot assign to a variable that is const. So that's basically saying we can't reassign the value of num1 because we've already declared it as const. And if we just get rid of this code here, oops, I'll just keep that space there, now press F5, you can see we only have 6 errors, and if we go up, the first one we see is num2, not num1, which was originally the first one. Now anyway, moving on, there's a problem with num2. And what is that problem? Well, let's take a look. Num2, const object must be initialized if not extern. And then again here, num2, you cannot assign to a variable that is const. So this first one basically means, you have to define a variable when you declare it. So here you can see I've only declared it. I haven't defined it as well, like I've done up here. And then the second error is just coming from because we're trying to redefine it. Although you may think, hey, wait a minute, we're not redefining it. We're defining it for the first time here. But because a const variable has to be defined when it's declared, this is taken as trying to redefine it. So if we just take this away and say equals 6 here, F5, okay, now we only have 4. That cut off the 2 errors from N2 that we had. Okay, okay, and now moving on, we have a const float f1 equals 1.56f, and I'm going to cover what this f means after I've gone through all these, but for now just don't worry about it. Just imagine this is saying equals 1.56. So first I've declared a constant float f1 and defined it with a value of 1.56, and again here I'm trying to redefine it to 2.49, and if we look down here it says you cannot assign to a variable that is const. And if we take away this and keep that space again, okay, 3 errors now. Next one is D1, and it's pretty much the same thing. If we take this away, see D1 there. Now if we press F5 and recompile, it's now 2 errors as opposed to when it was 3. And again, same with the bool. And basically, you get the drift. Oh, and also, yeah, you do get the drift, basically. You can't redefine a const variable, and you must define a const variable at the same time you declare it. Now also, I just want to cover something quickly as well, I've just remembered, is this double backward slash. Now, when we output this, you may expect this to output 2 backward slashes, sorry. And you're probably also confused as to why I'm putting 2 backward slashes in here when the char variable can only actually carry 1 character. Well, remember when we were talking about the backward slash n and how that simulates a carriage return? Well, because of this, if we just put a backward slash by itself, you can see that semicolon is red as opposed to here where it is black. And because it being red, it means that we're still trying to redefine what C1 is, and that's because basically the IDE thinks we're trying to use some backward slash escape character of backward slash and then a single quote, but that's not actually an escape character, so it's just carrying on. And this will not compile. If we try and compile this here, for example, we get 3 errors as opposed to where it was 2 before, remember? And here we can see our error is new line in constant, and basically I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's pretty self-explanatory that it's a problem with the escape character. Now, because we can use the escape character to do carriage returns, tabs and all that, we can also use it just to simply put a backward slash. So although this may look like a double backward slash, it's actually just a single backward slash, because the first backward slash is the escape character, and then we're saying I now want to output a backward slash. Okay. Anyway, yeah, moving on. If I take away that, we will now get no errors, and it will pop up here. Okay, and we can see. And constants are output exactly the same way as just regular variables. And you can see here, just going back to, remember I told you to ignore the f, it also ignores the f as well. And now let's get on to what the f means. Basically, whenever you define a variable, you can, at the end of defining the variable, put what type the variable is. And this is basically just saying const float1 f1 equals 1.56, and this number is a float number. And if I take this away, actually, and let me just close this, okay, save, and recompile, we should get not an error, but we might, oh, it's not popping up. Let me just take away something, so, okay. Okay, yeah, there we get a warning, and if we take a look at where this warning is, where is the warning? Okay, initializing, truncation from double to const float. And that's because if we don't put the f here, it, whoops, C++ thinks we're actually trying to make a double number as opposed to a float number. So, and that's why it's saying truncation, right? It's saying, hey, you're trying to make a double, and you're trying to define the double inside a float variable. Although it will allow that because C++, you know, it's a bit nitpicky about these things, so it will silently convert this to 1.56f itself. But generally, you should put the f there yourself. And also, you can put d here, I'm pretty sure. Actually, let me just put in that extra bit there. No, one failed. Okay, maybe not. I know you can put some character in there, but pretty much on every single type of variable, you can have that f or d, which doesn't apparently work. But like for unsigned longs, you can have ul. Let's just demonstrate that quickly. Unsigned long int equals 56 ul, and if I compile this, whoops, oh whoops, I forgot to put the name there, num3. If I compile this, it will still work, because this ul is just saying that this number is an unsigned long, and if we don't include that ul, the compiler will silently provide it for us, sort of like it silently provides a lot of things. If I don't just define that as an unsigned or signed and long or short, it will silently say I'm going to make that a signed long. Here, if we don't put the ul, it will silently say I'm making that 56 ul. Okay, so that's just something I want to cover quickly in this tutorial, because it's not extremely important, but it can be useful. You don't generally put, just so you know, you don't generally put ul and stuff. People only really put the f for floats. You don't really use that letter on the end for anything but floats. And that's just so we don't get the warning about the truncation. Okay. So anyway, this has just been a quick tutorial by Sub12 on constant variables. Over and out.